Hello everybody, Joe Bagdonuts here, welcome back to another episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. Last time we left off, fighting the big boy. Every mech thing, it's gotta have one supersized one. We got Big Zam, we got, that really big one from Full Metal Panic where the fan subber, quote unquote, mistyped, where it was like, crushed under the weight of gravy or whatever. Because it was like whole like anti-gravity or something. It's been like over a decade since I watched the second season of Full Metal Panic. Don't quote me on this. It was supposed to be gravity, but they typed gravy. Haha, very funny. They totally didn't do that intentionally. No, man, it was totally just what a coincidence that there was a typo in that one little spot. Anyway, yeah. There's children in the meat cube. We must save them, and hopefully not freeze to death. Ugh. I just woke up. It's like 10 a.m. Not just. I've been up since like 8, but get up, order breakfast because I'm too lazy to cook anything right now. Wait for it to come in, then eat it. Then it's like, I gotta start recording soon. It's like, I haven't had my coffee yet, so then I gotta go make my coffee and wait for my coffee to get made. And now here we are, where I still haven't taken a sip of it yet. I almost have my sleep schedule back on track. Almost. I tried to screw it up yesterday. I don't know what I was doing. I just stayed up like the entire night. Like playing games and fucking watching Gundam. Turns out, Gundam War in the Pocket, really good series. Little OVA. Fantastic. Probably one of the best I've seen so far. And it also turns out that Gundam Formula 91 is a bad movie. Still haven't finished it. I'm like halfway through, but I'm gonna have to force myself to go back and watch that other hour because I just don't care. I do not care about fucking Cosmo Babylonia. I do not care about fucking Seabook's little crew. I'm sure he's a fine character. It's just so dense and moving so fast. Literally no fucking connection to anything that's going on or reason to care, other than look, it's a Gundam! Whoa! Fucking new Gunplicants! Whoa! Yeah. Gotta twist my own arm to finish that after I'm done recording this. Anyway, yeah, let's continue. Ah! Jesus Christ! What the fuck was that? Oh, nice. You're, what was it? You have a shirt of, like, Masamune or something? I forget what the Amishi guy gave her. Her bones shriek beneath each impact. Though not one bullet has reached her flesh, her shield cannot fully protect her from the shock. She recalls the words that accompanied this gift. Oh, okay. No. Cool.
剣のように身体能力を引き上げることはないが邪魔になることもないと思う。
I didn't know you could do that.
軽いです。これなら普通に動けます。
Very Tokusatsu Rider of you to have, the scarf and that.
その分、あまり頑丈な気もしませんけど。
実際強度を知れている。武者の太刀など浴びればひとたまりもないだろう。機銃弾程度は防げるはずだが、それもいつまで持つか。早い話が気休めだ。
Yeah, no going to go play hero with just a cool glove.
最低限と言ったが、最低限ですらなかろう。
However paltry his offering may be, exactly what she wanted. What she needed. She is fighting. Aine Ichijo is fighting his enemy. She is a rodent facing an elephant, powerless to do more than dart from cover to cover. Her only defense might fail at any moment. And yet this is what she was waiting for, the means to fight at his side, however small. For Aine Ichijo, he is the truest path to justice. The force from the bullets carries through the makeshift shield, bursting blood vessels and pooling in the marrow of her bones. She hears the sound of cracks forming, widening, and knows what little protection she has will soon abandon her. But that means nothing to Ichijo. She cleaves to the plan. Cleaves? Okay. She cleaves to the plan, doing whatever in her power to hold the enemy's focus. You done? Jesus Christ, I can't read like that. There's a form of torture where a man in armor is beaten with hammers, crushed bones, and pulverized organs. Ichijo is experiencing much the same thing. Slow mounting agony that the stoutest of men would find impossible to endure. How then does this girl, of slight frame and delicate appearance, endure it? The answer is simple. As Minato Kageyaki suspected. Ayane Ichijo is utterly mad. Justice is indeed the path that man is meant to follow, but that does not mean that it coincides with man's natural instincts. If anything, the man with the healthy mind will use justice as a tool to serve his own ends. This distinctly abnormal individual who can do the opposite, enslave himself to justice, brand its edicts on his soul, and execute them without pause. The great warrior once said that no sane man ever accomplished anything of note. Another once exhorted his followers to love the fool, become the fool. These men knew the truth, that only by abandoning sanity can one achieve true selflessness, and thereby true justice. Ayane Ichijo does not know this truth, but then, how does she not need? But then she does not need to know. She already embodies their ideal. If these men could see her now, they would gasp in awe at the purity, the passion, the virtue of her madness. Three things are required to unlock the power of madness: the will, the way, and the means. The will she always had. She carved it into herself long ago. The way came later. Minato Kageyaki was her guide. And now, the means. With this, the last flimsy thread binding Ayane Ichijo to the world of the sane is undone. Now, she is free. Even as she basks, at long last, in the fire of battle, Ayane Ichijo desires more. She knows that there are far more greater evils, battles to come that will fray her bones bare. She craves them, her soul cries out for release. And at the same time, she knows. When at last she has the power she desires, then she can truly fulfill her purpose. Justice. Madness. And all that is evil will perish.
見えた。
あれ？
ああ。電源ケーブルだ。
Yeah, it's like an Evangelion, you know, you gotta cut the umbilical cable. It was difficult. The target is thin and camouflaged, and the enemy's low altitude hasn't helped matters. But I finally managed to locate the cable trailing from the machine's bottom. That must be the source of its power. The cable does not seem to extend or contract as the machine moves, which is odd. Unless it's sliding atop electrified rails buried in the ground. Perhaps that's what those grooves are for. In any case, we have our next move. Severing the cable will give us the advantage.
どうするの？
まともに襲えばあの障壁で阻止されるよ。だが、幸いにもケーブルのある位置は敵の死角。
Well, that's a design flaw.
奇襲が可能だ。
Or maybe even, you know, design's necessity. Because, you know, you can't really have the cable in front of you, otherwise you just step all over it and break it. More than 10 minutes have passed since the battle began, and still the enemy has done nothing but run and hide. Must be exhausted from the previous battle, unable to fly, much less attack. So why he is still alive, the giant's pilot asks, nearing the end of his rope. Please just die already. He fires another burst from his guns, praying that this time the target will stay down. His aim is on the mark, but only a few sparks fly from the crimson shape before it slips his sight. Let me go home. As disgust and frustration burn inside him, he sends another barrage chasing after. But the enemy has fled once more into the woods, and only trees fall to his fire. Come on, come on. His stomach rebels, but he sets his teeth and gulps down the bile. At the same time, he turns his machine and lays a horizontal line of fire perpendicular to the previous two vertical lines. Make it stop, make it stop. The target is nowhere in sight, no hint of crimson in the arc of space cleared by his gunfire. He rotates one more time, his gun paving a final line in the dirt. Something leaps back in haste, startled by the curtain of bullets that has suddenly appeared before it, and seeks cover inside the square of untouched trees that remain. Inside the square. The enemy is there, in the killing field that he drew with his guns. Finally. He knew how difficult it would be to catch a target so small on the ground, so he waited and endured, and now that the moment has arrived, he empties his stomach. It's over. Muttering the last of his strength, he activates Arahabaki. That's the mech's name? Okay. Arahabaki's Shinogi. Heat Drain. Its effectiveness is limited against armored opponents. However, in the blink of an eye, it reduces the trees to dust. And there is his target, standing alone in the center of the now barren lot. As he trains his main gun upon it, he thinks, now I can go home. He's a man who loathes battle, and therefore is not ruled by it. A man who maintains calm and focus, even as his gut churns. That is why, whenever he goes to war, however desperate he believes his misfortune, there is always someone on the battlefield less fortunate. His enemy, for no soldier is more fearsome than he. God damn it. Hold on. Let's drop the save. And then, what's the affection meter looking like? I know she has 1 pip. Don't want to get too close, otherwise you might kill her. Let's follow that plan. I take off running. I dash through the trees, circling to the enemy's back, all according to plan.
約束したんだ。窮地に陥ろうが助けない。見殺しにして、囚われの人々を助け出すと。
I gave her my word.
俺は約束したのだ。
I take the shortest path through the giant's blind spot, but I know that it won't make it in time. Before I cut the cable, the cannon will fire on Ichijo. I've tasted its power firsthand. I have no illusions that her makeshift armor, the armor I gave her, will protect her from that thing. Ichijo will die. Through the gap in the trees, I catch a momentary glimpse of her, indomitable as she stares death in the face. Our eyes do not meet. She cannot see me. No, I am all that she sees. Her eyes shine with perfect trust, an absolute certainty that I will leave her to perish. She knows that I will scale her blasted corpse and free the prisoners from that beast, and she would have it no other way. I tear my eyes free and charge on, knowing that to stop and bear witness to the end would itself be a betrayal of her faith. Forward I run, and forward, and each step driving the truth deeper into my heart, that once again I have sacrificed an innocent. What?
煙？煙幕弾か？誰が？
わからない。地表だと耳の利きが。それよりもミド。
おう！
I have no idea where that grenade came from. This chance is 1 in a million. The enemy's sight is obscured by the smoke. If I can finish this now. No more need for cover. I burst from the trees and make a beeline for my target. There. The enemy's power cable. Got it.
はい、お見事。勘をつればよく切れるってか？それじゃあ次に参りましょうや。村正！
Oh, that did boost her trust because we, went for, justice overall.
何か
Good
どうなっ
question.
たんだ。伏兵ってことは。なるほど。
敵機、馬から日向の下より反転に移る。
大鶴
We can take him.
村正あまりフォローを広げるな
Oh, we were only at, half, fuel level. We're fine. We
安定
got
性の
this.
犠牲を飲む
了解。外した。
太刀を巻き払われた巧妙な技を使ってくれる
There are, by and large, core factors that decide the outcome of Musha aerial combat. These are weight, maximum speed, acceleration, and turning speed. The importance of the first should be obvious. Weight is what determines how high and how quickly you can climb, and therefore who has the advantage at the start of battle. And while weight decides the advantage in the first exchange, it is maximum speed that determines how well you can put that advantage to use. To be faster than your enemies, to have a heavier strike that will land first. After the first exchange, acceleration and turning speed hold the key. Acceleration allows you to recover the speed you lost in the attack, and the faster you come about, the easier it is to take the high ground. There's no way to achieve perfection in all 4 categories. In pursuing one, a smith must sacrifice another. If you increase the wingspan, you gain maneuverability at the cost of reduced acceleration. Thicken them instead, and you trade lift for maximum speed. This relationship is absolute. No Tsurugi can be all-powerful. A smith must accept the limitations of reality and work within them the best he can. Thus, although there may be a gap in overall quality between any 2 given Shinichi, this gap is rarely insurmountable. Even the lesser work necessarily leads in one of the 4 categories, and by that advantage alone can carry the battle in its favor. Even the lesser work necessarily leads to... Okay. The only time this gap truly is insurmountable is when Akazu Uchi has the misfortune of facing a Shinichi in the sky.
ああ、もう屈辱ね。調子が万全だったらこんなまがいものくぜ。
たけるなお前が苛立つ必要はない
Mm-hmm.
現状でもお前の性能は敵機に優越し
Just
ている
gotta play it by the book.
俺が反町一蔵に劣っているのだ
In my right forearm, I feel the lingering sensation of our last exchange. My strike should have ended this fight, but my enemy deflected it as though it were nothing. Nope, I didn't roll up on the scroll wheel. Weird. Fearsome opponent, the Sorimachi Ichizo. To think that he could overcome the disparity in power with swordsmanship alone. While the Type 90 surely deserves its place in the annals of history, it is still a Kazeuchi, and nearly a decade out of date. Muramasa is superior in every way, yet Sorimachi's skill is enough to render that advantage meaningless. Compared to a purely average Musha, such as myself, may as well be a hero out of legend.
怪我さえなかったらそれだってひっくり返るでしょ。
さてどうか何にせよ現状況下ではマケインの遠吠えに過ぎない
ええ、そうね。じゃあ一緒に出家でもする？
Probably a safer occupation than this.
悪くはないが
I come about.
せめて一矢報いてからとしよう
一子で済ませるものですか。
Our banter serves one purpose, at least. It keeps my attention focused on this enemy. Though every second I feel it slipping, pulled back towards the duty that remains undone. The giant is still active. If I don't finish it now, while it's vulnerable, what will happen to the people trapped inside? To Ichijo, risking her life to give me this chance.
ミノ
Damn, he got below me. Our swords are both on a standard Jodan, which gives him the advantage. There's no time to reseat my blade, which leaves... What, you're just gonna invert? Yep.
いや、存外に器用なお人だ。
Get off my radio. His tone is jovial. It is impossible to judge whether the praise is mocking or genuine.
吉野恩流が一芸霞返し誇るほどの技ではない同等の技術ならそちらにもあるだろう一刀流の反り持ち一族
Instead of changing your grip, just change your orientation.
目利きの方も大したもんだ。
これだけ立ち会えば立ち筋の一つ二つは読み取れるましてそれが
恐れ入りました。しかし、妙なこと
Sure,
が
let's exposit some information.
と
今の一刀、切り切ればお手前の勝ちだったじゃありませんか。私は今頃海に向かって真っ逆さまだ。どうしてそうなさらなかったんだい警察の旦那。
Good question.
そちらこそ宣告の振る舞いは何の推挙か
I don't know, mainly to just annoy you.
はい。
あの瞬間怪物の牙を止めたのは反町一族お前ではないのか
はて、何のことやら。
Was I mistaken? True, would it make sense for him to help us?
ならばその件は置いて今のことを聞こう
He's a bit of a chaos factor, you know. You could look at it as the more pieces on the board that are fucking moving around and fucking with everyone, the better it is for him.
この数後俺を切り落とす機会は一度ならずあったはずだ
いや、何ね。確かめたかったんだよ。
Okay.
何をだ
Just kind of feeling him out.
そもそも
Good
なぜ
question.
ここに
Why are you here? You don't
なぜ
even go
俺
here.
を襲う六原親問いから研究所の警備部隊に転属したわけではないだろう
I don't really think he cares about that.
別にそれでも構いませんがね。旦那には私が借りたものを返しに来るような律儀な人間に見えるのですが。
ではお前が GHQ の手下だからか GHQ の統治政策を俺が妨害したから始末に来た
さーて、何の話や。
Mm-hmm.
鈴川亮風魔小太郎幕府の高官でもない彼らが技物を所持していたのはお前の両手が進駐軍の蔵から剣を持ち出し
Yeah,
彼
something
ら
like
に
that.
受け渡したからではないのか
参りましたね。
Oh, old people fucking love to talk your ear off. What did you expect?
喋ったような。
なぜ GHQ がそんな真似を許したかそれはお前の行動が GHQ の目的に沿うものであったからに他ならない
GHQ's objective is total domination of Yamato. It was by considering Soromachi's actions in light of this truth that the commissioner reached his conclusion. Damnable simple one and all too plausible portrait of doom. I fling it at my opponent like a javelin.
ヤマトの武者にヤマトの民を害させる
Incite
ヤマト
chaos.
は GHQ という支配者を受け入れるその素地を作るために違うか売国の
His mad laughter is as clear an affirmation as can be.
進駐軍の任務は言ってしまえば我が国を軍事基地化することだ。
Yep, one giant unsinkable aircraft carrier.
そのためにはヤマトの民を味方につける必要がある。武力のみで強引に支配した末、各地で抵抗運動など起こされてはとてものこと。だからこそ、六原の圧政を黙認する。
Fan the
暴虐な
flames.
る支配者にヤマトの国民から救いを求める声が上がり、しかしそれだけでは足りない。六原に対する増悪を煽っても、ヤマトの民がまず頼りにするのは六原以外のヤマト武者かもしれない。その目を摘むため、剣狩りを行って幕軍以外の武者を根絶し、その剣をわざわざ危険人物に提供して強行に走らせているのではないか。ヤマト国民のヤマト武者に対する信頼を完全に失う。
さあね、俺を襲うのも特進力。別に意図してのことではなかった。結果的に GHQ の目論見を潰した俺は邪魔者と見られて当然。
Yeah, can't we just like ignore each other?
あの連中を切っただけならともかくねえ。あんたの行動が世間で噂になりかけてるってのがまずい。
Oh, that there's you know, a fucking symbol of, you know, hope running around.
あんたが英雄になっちゃ困るんですよ。英雄は進駐軍だけでいい。だそうだね。
Look, we just want to like fucking get Kinsego and all the eggs, and then we can go back to our jail cell, okay?
それで今回の運びとなったわけで。
何？
His wording implies that he isn't talking about his own attack.
いやね、大した工作をしたわけじゃありませんよ。幕府がここで兵器研究をしてるってネタをいくらか脚色してそちらへ流しただけで、銀色うんぬんってのを強調しときゃ餌になるんじゃないかってね。
It's like you ever go bass fishing and you get a good lure, and you know the water's clear enough that you can see the fish down there in the reeds, and you just kind of plop the line in, and you start, you know, start jigging it, and the fish is just like eyeballing your lure, and it's like, I know that's not real, like I can see it, I can see that you just put it in, but then it bites anyway. Surimachi was in close contact with Fuma Kotaro. It's no surprise that he would know of my search for Kinsego, nor that he would use that knowledge to lure me here.
島の警備力が俺を殺せばよし。俺が六原の兵器研究を潰しても、それはそれで万々歳。どちらに転んでも、高みの見物の GHQ。
Outstanding play on their part.
ならばなぜ出てきた？俺があの怪物と決着をつけるまで見物を決め込まなかったのはなぜだ？
I don't know, for fun. Something dawns on me. Might there not be room to negotiate?
その方がそちらにとっても都合がよかろう。この場を引け。反町一族。
はい。
逃げはせぬ。あの怪物を仕留めた後、お前の相手をすると約束し、あるいは俺の方があの怪物に潰されるかもしれない。
I mean, valid points. The question is whether he cares. Right now, my priority is to finish off the giant. I can deal with Sorimachi after. This arrangement should suit both our goals.
まあそうかもしれませんが、そちらさんにとっちゃ別に私が先でも構わないんじゃないですかね。
いや、あの怪物は体内に監禁した人々を燃料にして動いている。彼らを急ぐ。 助け出さねばならない。
Yeah, but then that's feeding into the whole hero thing, bud.
大した正義感ぶりで。
どう解釈しようと構わない。
いやいや、そうとしか解釈できませんね。となると、私は悪玉の用心棒ってわけだ。
You are like cosmologically opposed to each other, so he must fight you.
助けに行きたいなら、私をどうにかしないといけませんね。
Good villain line. Why? What is this man thinking? Isn't he here to finish his mission? Could there be some other reason for this attack? Whatever the case.
決裂よ。余計なことは忘れて。
The man just loves being evil. I reseat my blade. Unfortunately, Muramasa is right.
旦那に私が殺せますかね。
引かぬならば切る。
旦那、私は殺せるか。
Sure? Yeah, what do you mean?
今のところ、旦那の切先にはちいとも殺気が乗っちゃおりませんが。
Okay, fair. You're just kind of annoyance. It's not like he, like, despises you. How? It's true, I have no intention of killing him. There's no egg present in his armor, therefore no reason to take his life. But still, how could he see through me so quickly?
無用の殺生は戒めるべきこと。当然の心得だ。
そうですか。けど、今はそうも言ってられないんじゃないですか、ね。
Yeah, great. Platitudes and nice words, but we kind of got something to do here.
殺す気でやらなけりゃ、いつまでもここに釘付けですよ。私を殺しますか。
他に手がないならば、万やむなし。切り殺して押し通る。
There we go, now we can fight for real. An empty threat, but he doesn't know that. I mustn't let him have the upper hand.
それでこそ英雄ってもんで。
Tsurumachi turns. I pull up to meet his charge, placing his tsurugi roughly in the center of my field of vision. Why am I wasting time here against an enemy whose objective is cloaked in shadow? I need to finish this. I assume the flying Chudan, blade point forward and parallel to the body. Tsurumachi answers with the right Jodan. As Tsurumachi moves to take my bottom, I drop pitch to cut him off. He answers in kind. I try to preempt. And fail. He takes the bottom. The advantage his, and at that moment, I shift to Gaidon and strike. The battle for position was a feint, a ruse to disguise my true attack. My slash from below meets Tsurumachi at precisely the optimal angle. It will land first, cut deep into the shoulder armor, and immobilize his arm. My blade nears, on course, for Tsurumachi's neck. In what can only be a fit of delirium, Tsurumachi has turned his body just enough to place his neck in the path of my blade. Ordinarily, Musha's helmet protects him from such strikes, but with his neck exposed like this, might as well not be wearing it. My sword will enter through the joint, slice through flesh and bone. And Tsurumachi will die. I will kill him. Yep, time to put your money where your mouth is. Do you really mean what you said? At the last moment, I managed to force my sword off course. The razor-sharp tip brushes Tsurumachi's neck and continues in the empty air, taking only a few flakes of skin with it. Pain shoots up my arms from the unnatural twisting of my wrists. I cover my groan with an enraged roar. I was like, what's your groin got to do with this? Get bitched out, little fucking bitch! He answers with a howl of unbridled contempt. Tsurumachi pulls away, cackling through the night. Even his tapering exhaust seems to be deriding my failure. What did he know? He can't be so detached from the world that he would risk his life on a meaningless gamble. He knew, as if having peered into my soul, that I cannot simply kill as I please.
宣告口にしていたな。確かめたと。 俺の何を確かめたという。
いや、何、あん
Mm-hmm.
たがね、くだらねえ半端者だってことですよ。
They don't got the guts to make the fucking hard choice.
嫌なんだろう。私を殺すのが嫌なんだろう。だってね、私を殺したら、もう一人罪もない人を殺さにゃならんもん。なあ。
That was loud. Sparks fly as he smashes my hasty parry aside. But the shock that explodes in my wrist is nothing compared to which seizes my heart.
なぜお前がそれを。
見たんだよ。
He saw me?
あの世、あの村、
Yeah.
あの山の一軒家で。てめえがエミシュの子供を二人、泣きわめきながら殺すのをな。
Yeah, you know that really messy kill?
なんでてめえみてえな野郎があんな真似をしたんだか、わけがわかんなかった。村正って剣のことをさ。そっちの方の文献を集めてる坊さんが知り合いにいたんだね。そしたら
A cursed Tsurugi.
一個だけてめえにはまる伝承が見つかってな。呪いがあるんだろ。
Makes the wielder do fucked
そ
up
の
shit.
剣にはよ。
Innocent blood fuels its power. I am Muramasa. Where there are demons, I slay them. Where there are saints, I slay them. Good is not my nature. Justice is not my purpose. The righteous path is not mine to walk. Good and evil alike shall perish beneath my blade. I am a weapon, a tool of murder. Yet, you who would call yourself my master, hast thou the resolve to become what I am? If nay, then begone. If yea, then stand forth and speak the covenant.
南北朝時代の争いが泥沼のどん底になっちまったのは、村正がその呪いを広めたからだって言うじゃねえか。大したもんだね。
Ooh, very Picasso. Electromagnetic corruption. Disabled. Imperial edict. Absolute prohibition. What fucks with people's brainwaves?
なあ、あんた。なんで山奥にでも
Your brain's just a meat computer, you know, it's just electricity going between synapses. So if you, throw some fucking impedance in there, what happens to people? Sounds a whole lot like a different Tsurugi we're after.
そんな厄介な呪いを抱えて、なんで世間をうろつき回るんだよ。呪われた剣を使ってるくせに、やってることは悪党大使。悪代官を成敗した後で、可愛い村娘も殺しちまう。あんた一体何がしてんだよ。
どうも
悪党どもとやり合うために、とにかく強い剣が欲しかったのか。たくさんの人を救うためなら、少しの犠牲はやむなし。
I think it's a little more complicated than that.
いいね。そいつは正義の英雄だ。でも英雄だったんなら、もっと堂々としてなけりゃいけねえな。
貴様。
それとも人殺しが好きなだけか。いいね。
Not really.
そいつはアッキってやつだ。
He seems to like really detest it deep
で
down.
もアッキだったら、もっと嬉しそうに殺さなきゃな。
黙れと。
どっちでもねえ、半端野郎だ。おめえは半端野郎だよ。
Can't fully commit to either role.
くったらねえ。
黙れと言ってやる。
Damn you. Damn you. Damn you to hell! A dramatic line I read. You know nothing, yet you presume to judge my feelings, my motives? Kill with pride? Kill with joy? The man who can't is nothing? Worthless? How dare you? A man with no will, a man with no identity, would never do what I have done. He is the man who would plug his ears, shut his eyes, and hide from the world in a mountain cave. Damn you. If only I could be that man. What peace that would bring, what salvation. And here you come along, armed with only a fragment of understanding, and claim to know me. You know me? My strike smashes Sorimachi's sword aside and cleaves into his shoulder. It's shallow, but my blade has finally reached him. As well it should. Not only does Muramasa outperform his Type 90 in every way, but I also have the altitude advantage. 2 arms or 1. There's no reason at all that I shouldn't overpower him.
半端者が半端者呼ばわりされると一丁前に腹を立てるらしい。剣筋がちったマシになってきたぜ。
You still mock me?
黙らせてくれる。
ミド
Woo, yeah, let's kill him! I ignore Muramasa's alarmed cry and ready my blade once more above my shoulder. Sorimachi answers with Gadan. He intends to skip the struggle for position, letting me take the bottom while he takes the top. From an Itoryu practitioner, this can mean only one thing. He's going for Kiri Otoshi.
できぬと思うか。
Victory. Our blades cross into space between us, then mine knocks his aside and plows into his shoulder with a sharp clang. The hefty feedback tells me that I may have cracked his collarbone. Oh, yep. That's a good hit.
覚えたか。反町。
The Itoryu's Kiryu Otoshi is a technique whereby you answer your opponent's strike with its opposite. Your intent to cut through his attack and into his body. When both combatants attempt Kiryu Otoshi, the strike with greater power and precision will prevail, as mine has in this exchange. His damage can't be light. The tables have turned. I'll fling him on to the next... I'll finish him on the next pass, render him unable to fly, and that will be the end of this absurd, dalliance? Dalliance? I'm just gonna go with dalliance. I'll be able to return to my true objective and rescue those children from that middle beast. I've wasted enough time on you, Yakuza.
ミド敵反転せず
Yeah, I'm playing number 3 with its fucking shitty combat. Sorimachi hasn't changed pitch or heading since our pass. Still climbing higher in the sky, where he should be diving to recover speed in preparation for the next exchange. Is he running? No, even if he wanted to flee the battlefield, he would still need to dive for speed. Could he be attempting to take the higher ground? Surely not. Climbing like that is far too slow. By the time he reaches altitude and turns to meet me, I'll already be within striking range. Of course, he knows that my priority is to defeat the Rokuhara giant. Maybe he assumes that if he shows me his back, I'll immediately return to my real objective. At which point he'll swoop down and take me by surprise, as he did before. Yes, that's exactly the sort of trick a man like Sorimachi would employ.
乗らぬ。
I pull up, chasing after Sorimachi's retreating form. Closing the distance proves simple, as gravity has already stripped his machine of most of its speed. Yet he still climbs, even going so far as to further raise his pitch. Speed is a precious commodity in aerial combat, and he throws it away for just a little more altitude, striking for the summit of heaven for an unreachable silver disk of the moon. What is Sorimachi thinking? Should have abandoned his plan the moment I gave chase. I'm also losing speed rapidly, but I started my climb only after accelerating through my dive. Compared to Sorimachi, who has been climbing since our last exchange, I have the advantage. Only a matter of time before I get within striking range. Even if he turns to face me, I'll be upon him before he can act. Surely he must know that defeat is fast approaching, and yet he continues to climb. For a moment, I find myself wondering if the moonlight hasn't bewitched him. But though his actions defy credulity, his technique inspires only awe. Most pilots would have tumbled from the sky by now. He's maintaining perfect control at well below stall speed. Even among Rokuhara's elite corps of dragoons, I cannot imagine there are more than a handful who could mimic this astonishing feat. He draws near. My speed, too, is in the danger zone. If I lose focus, gravity will pluck me from the sky in a heartbeat. It is not going to happen. I've shouldered enough disgrace for one day. The difference in speed is close to nothing now, but I have a slight advantage. I'll not let it go to waste. Just a little more and I'll have him. Our course is but a few degrees from absolute vertical. Maintaining flight will soon be impossible for either of us. And as I watch Soramachi comes to a stop, he finally lost all speed. Next will be the fall. And Soramachi does not fall. At the apex of his turn, at the exact moment that his speed reaches 0, he applies full rudder and braces the pull of the earth. Just swing around 180. In the blink of an eye, with terrible liquid grace, his machine spins to face the ground. To face me. And suddenly, it comes to me. A moment of understanding beyond knowledge or reason. What can only be described as a revelation. My one true enemy is Soramachi Ichizo. Time starts and gravity takes hold. Now the speed advantage is all Soramachi's. Gravity will pull him straight down into his target, while I must fight against it to reach mine. I watch, entranced as victory is torn from my grasp, yet still a part of me is unable to dissect my opponent's handiwork. I know what this is. One of 5 ultimate techniques passed down to Ito Itosai, founder of the Ito Ryu, from his master, Kanemaki Jisai. Kanemaki Jisai, there we go. Syllables go in a certain order. They were the Myoken, Zetsu Myoken, Shinken, Doku Myoken, and finally, the Kanji Cho's Ken, otherwise known as... Oh, it was a long O there. My brain automatically made it a parenthesis S. I'm like, that's not proper Japanese grammar. That can't be right. The Imenal turn. The Imenal turn? What? Oh, that's loud. During the Great War, which raged from 1914 to 1918, the German Empire boasted a number of pilots who were feared for their mastery of aerial combat. Oberleutnant Max Emanuel Mann was one of these aces. As his lack of titular von indicates, Max Emil Mann was not a noble, and therefore did not possess a blood crux or Shinichi Tsurugi. This made him irregular among the aces of his time. Kazeuchi, red cruxes, had only just been invented at the turn of the century, and their capabilities were nothing compared to what they are today. Even his beloved Fokker E3, with its revolutionary wire-supported single-wing design, was a long way from matching the mystical power of true cruxes. There's no question that Imelman... How do I pronounce that name? I want to be able to say it right. It's fucking German, so it's got some weird intonation, I imagine. Immelmann. Oh, the first one that comes up is turn. Cool. No, pronunciation, though. That's what I care about. Don't care about YouTube. Good old how to pronounce, my good old favorite. Immelmann. There's no question that Immelmann was at a severe disadvantage when compared to other aces of the war, all warriors from noble bloodlines who soared gallantly above the battlefield in their ancient and mighty armor. To make matters worse, the Western Front, where he was stationed, was opposed by the most elite of France's Musha, knights in Western nomenclature, words, hard. Nomenclature, there we go. While nearly all of Germany's knights had been sent to the east to battle Russia. Immelmann. I'm just gonna say Immelmann. Immelmann and his allies were but puny dragoons, their enemies, masters of the deadliest weapons the world had ever known. Survival alone would have been a Herculean task. Yet, Max Immelmann had not only survived, he became a legend of his time. To understand how, we must look back at a fateful encounter from his youth. After the Tokugawa period came to an end, Yamato sought to make up for centuries of isolationism by assimilating knowledge and culture from the West. All the Western powers were used as models for modernization, but the greatest influence on the Yamatoan military came from Prussia, Germany. Yeah, it's like down, oh god, who does it down in South America? Is it Argentina, where they still, like, fucking wear pickle helms? You know, when they do their parades? At the time, the Emperor's ministers had determined that Germany possessed the strongest army in Europe. They dispatched teams of experts and scholars with orders to learn all that they could. And one of these experts who came to Germany was none other than Sasaki Junzo, the 16th master of the Onha Itoryu. I misread that entirely. Where was it? Yeah. Onoha Itoryu. Sasaki met the young Immelmann by coincidence and began instructing him in the Itoryu. When Immelmann's genius became apparent, Sasaki even went so far as to teach him the school's greatest secrets. Whether he was impulsive or generous is up for debate, but when he returned to Yamato and was harshly criticized for having surrendered what was in essence a national treasure, Sasaki Junzo answered thusly: "The man who learns but does not teach is a thief. I learned much from the German warriors, and in gratitude, taught a young man what I could." That said, even Sasaki himself likely never imagined that Immelmann would put his teachings to use, for while the 5 secrets of the Itoryu had been passed down for generations, not one successor since Ito Itosai had ever succeeded in translating that knowledge into technique. The wisdom they contained was simply too difficult to understand. By Sasaki's time, their transmission had become merely a formality before a disciple could receive full certification. But then, one night when the fighting was at its most hopeless, and he struggled in vain to shake an enemy knight, Max Immelmann recalled the instruction he had received in his childhood, and, drawing upon his genius, restored a fragment of lost majesty. The Konji Cho Ken, a split-second turn off a steep vertical zoom climb followed by a free-falling, gravity-powered strike, a technique whereby one may overturn even the most overwhelming odds. And so this technique became Immelmann's sword. With it, he struck knight after knight from the skies of Europe and astonished enemy and ally alike. Upon his death in 1819, he had slain a total of 17 warriors representing the very best of French nobility. His technique was invincible, demonic, what we in Yamato call Makhen. It vanished with him, but to this day, there is not one Musha who has not dreamt of that fearsome shade returning from beyond the final horizon to rule the skies once more, and, drenched in sweat, awoken crying its name. The Immelmann turn! Cool. Muramasa's voice is distant, impossible to make out. My sight is in an impenetrable curtain of red. I calmly assess the damage. Mortal. It is a mystery I'm still alive. Assuming, that is, that these aren't the last thoughts of a fleeing soul. The Immelman turn. Never imagined that I would encounter such a relic. They say that Max Immelman had no successors, that his technique was his alone. Its loss, while regretted, is considered only natural. Who else could possess the sheer talent necessary to maintain total control during stall? And yet to think. Sorimachi Ichizo. To think a man like this existed. My vision dims. Am I still climbing? Ah, only a second has passed since taking the hit. Maybe I'm falling, and I just haven't realized it. I have no way to tell. But one thing is clear. Sorimachi is coming. Coming for me. The world shakes and tumbles, and I barely feel it. There's no pain. I must have suffered a grave wound somewhere, but no signals reaching my brain. Have I gone numb already? Or has my brain itself suffered damage? Gray out. The Musha's last warning to make peace with his gods. When a pilot experiences gray out, it means that his heat stores are catastrophically low. The last dregs of warmth are leaving me together with my blood. But while I can barely see, my hearing is still damnably clear. A voice reaches me across the sky.
何度でも言ってやるぜ。てめえはくだらねえ半端野郎だ。
Sorimachi.
なんでかてめえはいやいややってるじゃねえか。あの村で子供を殺した時も、この間サーキット場の騒動の後で殺した時もそうだ。てめえは嫌だ嫌だって体で言いながら殺してやがった。なあ。
Oh man, we're really getting batted around, huh?
本当はこんなことやりたくねえんだって。本音が透けて見えてたぜ。嫌ならやらなきゃいいだろうがよ。意地悪じいさんを殺さなけりゃ、正直じいさんも殺さなくて済むんだろ。何もしなきゃいいんだよ。
貴様。
Yeah, just go hang out in your jail cell and spend your days doing like inverted pull-ups or whatever, or crunches like you like doing.
なあ。
何も知らないだけだ。俺がやらねばならないのだ。俺がやらねば。
So you were a slave to duty.
じゃあどんな話だってんだ。てめえ様がそいつをやってくださらないとこの世が滅びてしまいますってか。いいじゃねえか。てめえにしか救えねえ。
Yeah, fuck the world, huh?
それをやりたくねえ。見捨てちまえよ。笑いながらなあ。
そう。
What are you saying?
どっちだっていいんだよ。救おうと見捨てようと。
Yeah, fully commit to one or the other.
どっちだっていいけどよ。
For being so
てめえで納
lukewarm
得してか
about
ら
it.
やれよ。なあ。
But I have to do it. It's Seigo, and it's eggs. Only Muramasa and I can stop them. So I kill, keep killing.
納得はしている。
してねえ。
Clearly not.
してたらなんで泣きやめだ。
泣いてなどいない。
How could I have been? I have no tears, no right to tears.
泣いてたさ。みっともなくな。
His contempt is palpable. I can practically feel the spit on my face.
人間みんなやりたいことやって生きてる。そりゃそうだ。どんな奴だって自分のことしかわからねえんだからな。他人のことなんてよくわからねえ。だから自分のやりたいようにやる。てめえで考えて、てめえで納得したことをやる。みんなそうやって真面目に生きたら。おかげで世の中面白い。 今みたく生きがたい世情だとみんな余計に真剣だしな。
People living their best lives, or, well, living the best they can.
付き合ってみてもぶつかってみてもみんな生きることに反発ってもんがねえくらいどいつもこいつも楽しい奴らだ。てめえだけだよ。自分で納得もしてねえことをやってやがる。おちゃらけた野郎はてめえだけだ。間抜けな生き方しやがって興ざめするんだよ、てめえみたいのがいるとな。
Yep, quit being so wishy-washy.
それでてめえが一人でどっかに引っ込んでるってんならまあいいさ、てめえの勝手だよ。だがてめえは殺しやがる。
Yeah, those nice kids.
いやいやながら殺しやがる。あのガキども、あの姉妹よ、いやいやながら
But you
殺し
did
やが
it
った。
anyway. Kinda fucked up, huh?
ふざけんじゃねえ。いやいやながらでやったやつ自身が納得もしてねえような理由で殺されちまった方の身になりやがれ。
Yeah, at least have some conviction when you're killing them.
バカバカしくてしょうがねえだろうが。
Ooh, man, we're really fucking spinning, huh? Where am I? I no longer hear the wind, nor even my Sarugi's voice. And yet, by some trick of the gods, my enemy's words are as clear as ever.
てめえは何者だ。英雄か悪鬼か凡人か。英雄じゃねえな。
Mm-hmm.
英雄だったら殺すときは堂々と殺
Do
す。
some for the greater good
必要
kind
な
of
犠牲
thing.
だって割り切って真っ向から相手の目を見て切り殺すだろうぜ。
And if you were a demon, you'd fucking love it.
てめえはとてもそんな器じゃね
Right. Right you are. I am no hero. I'm
え。じゃあ悪鬼か。
a demon. Yes, I'm a demon.
違うな。悪鬼だったら嫌そうに殺したりしねえよ。嬉しそうに笑って殺すさ。
No, you're wrong. Smiles, laughter, none of that matters. They are not what make a demon.
じゃあなんだ、凡人か。そうだよ。
Yeah, just some dude. Regular guy. A good, honest human being. No, a regular guy would say, fuck this shit, I'm out.
てめえはまともな人間だよ。親からちゃんとした教育受けて、ちゃんとした道徳とか身につけたんだろ。だから殺すのがそんなに嫌なんだろうが。
Yeah.
違うかよ。英雄でも悪鬼でもねえし、そんなのに関わり合って生きてる人間でもねえ。
Yeah, you know, two
普通に
kids, a
一人で暮ら
dog,
してい
white
ける
picket
器だ。
fence.
てめえもそれが一番いいんだろ。そうしてりゃよかったんだよ。クソが。いらねえ無理しやがって。汗水垂らして働いて、家族を養って日々を過ごす。てめえがそうして何がいけねえ。せっかくまっとうに育ってまともな人間になったんだから
Womp
よ。
womp. No. I feel blood course through my veins, and my revision regains a tiny bit of clarity. You're wrong, Sorimachi Ichizo. Strength returns to my failing limbs. My heart is cold, exhausted, but something gives me power. Something.
まともな人間の分際で、殺し殺されの世界に手を出しやがった。それがてめえの間違いだ。
No. Good man, is that what you name me? What a joke. Absurdity at its finest.
おうが
Sorimachi Ichizo, what do you presume to know about me? Loving parents? A fine upbringing? That much is correct. But your conclusion is laughable. An imbecile's logic. From good families come good children. If that were indeed law of the universe, how simple the world would be, how bright. Answer me this. Would a child with loving parents, child raised to be kind and just, who then goes on to murder his mother. Would he be a regular guy you speak of? Is that what you mean by raised right? Nonsense. Nonsense. You're a fool, Sorimachi. I see the faint shape of my foe high above, the moon once again at his back. I know what this portends. Makhen, Imalturn.
消えろ。
Imanman?
消えちまえ。
Ineman?
てめえが真面目にやってりゃ、あのガキどもがわけもわかんねえで殺されることもなくて済んだ。てめえの理由とやらは聞かねえよ。だが、言っておいてやる。てめえは誰も救っちゃいねえぜ。殺しただけだ。てめえの勝手でな。
Yes. Yes. Doesn't matter what my reasons were, or whether I had a reason at all. What matters is what I did to them, to him, to her. I killed them of my own free will. I killed them to serve my purpose. See? You do understand, Sorimachi. So why can't you make the final connection? That is what makes a demon. His feelings aren't important. Whether he laughs with joy or howls with disgust, the man who kills for himself is a demon. No, the man who kills for a cause is no different. Heroes, soldiers, warriors of every sort. These are demons too. All who kill are demons.
そうだ。
What separates good from evil? One thing and one thing only. The ability to reject the value of life. That is the answer. That is everything.
消えちまえ。半端野郎が。
Sorimachi. That is how you see me, so be it. Scorn my reluctance. Deride my tears if it pleases you. Call me a good man for all I care. But know what I am. I know what I've done.
アッキー殺した
殺した。
アッキー殺した
I don't care about you. Who fucking cares about you?
殺した
Sorry, bud. And I have faith in my evil. I hear it. My enemy's gasp reaches me from on high. No doubt he thought me beaten and broken. I myself do not understand how I am moving. But move I do. I look up at Sorimachi, plummeting from heaven like a meteor of malice, and I rise to meet him. My enemy wields the Imelman turn, the invincible sword that brings death from above. Our angle is now perfectly vertical. I'm climbing, he falling. It is glaringly apparent who has the advantage. How can I answer him? What can I do? Despite his understandable shock at my recovery, Sorimachi's technique shows no sign of faltering. He still has complete faith in his superiority. I do not blame him. The Imelman turn is well worth his trust. It is a Makhen, an art so perfect as to be called sorcery, witchcraft, fantasy given form. If there is to be any hope of victory, then I too must give form to fantasy. Kabuto Wari. What, your helmet? What about your helmet? If there is a dream that all young warriors share, it is this, Kabuto Wari, where an unarmored, unaugmented human cleaves a steel helmet in two with a single stroke of his sword. It is impossible, the stuff of wild fantasy and delusions. Find the swordsman with the greatest skill, and give him the mightiest sword ever forged, and he will only cut, at most, a few centimeters into the helmet's crown. That is what sane people mean when they speak of the Kabuto-wari. And the warrior who accomplishes this seemingly insignificant feat well deserves the title of master. The perfectly split helmet is a dream, the goal of amateurs who think themselves superhuman. But if one were to realize that dream, then his technique, his sword has transcended the laws of honed and forged by a singular will into the purest form of madness. If if such a sword exists. If it exists, then neither the strongest foe, nor the mightiest bulwark, nor the most insurmountable odds will suffice to deter it. That sword will cut through everything in its path, man, machine, and god alike. If that is, such a sword exists. Not the most elegant battle cry in the world, but it'll suffice. Sploosh into the water.
Mido! Mido!
Just barely.
今あなた何をしたの？
わからん。
Yeah, it just kind of went into a fugue state.
忘れた。
ミド。
それはいい。島へ戻るぞ、村正。怪物を放置しすぎた。急がねばならね。
どうにか。
Yeah, that's fine. That's all we need.
どうにかね。あなたも私もとっくに限界よ。いつ落ちても自然の断り。金人様に文句を言えた筋合いじゃない。
ならば即刻に済ませよう。行くぞ。
ええ。
Oh, it broke. How many hits has she taken? 50? 100? After shepherding her through the storm of steel for longer than anyone could have hoped, Ichijo's crimson armor at last disintegrates into its component threads. In the blink of an eye, they vanish on the wind.
そっか。ご苦労さん。
She whispers with heartfelt gratitude. Then she lifts her head and looks up at the enemy whose next shot will surely slay her. Its cannons make ready to fire. To satisfy the pilot's anger at having been toyed with for so long by an enemy so small. So this is it, Ichijo muses. She feels no regret. Disappointment. She would have liked to fight more, but not regret. She got her wish to fight at his side, if only for a single night. She does not doubt for a moment that to die young in battle is a far better fate than a lifetime lived in impotence. So she accepts death, accepts it, and raises her fists, ready to fight until her last breath.
おい。
The giant departs, leaving her alone with her resolve. Is it this mercy? Has it decided that she's not worth killing? No, the enemy is afraid. It pulls a turn too rapid for its size, its armor squealing in protest, and heads off to face... Now Ichijo realizes what has happened. He saved her.
また助けられちゃった。死んでたはずの命を助けてもらったってことは。
Well, your life is your own. So, I mean, sure, if you want to like dedicate it to him, whatever, that's your own thing. But really, you know, you should like live for yourself. Who am I to say that?
しかも2度だ。この命はあの人のために使う。あの人の戦いのために使う。たくさんの人を救う。戦いのために使う。
Well, yeah, that sounds nice and all, but
あの人に救ってもらった命で、私も誰かを救う。
as it stands right now, you're kind of Umuro, fucking Uno? I don't know. Fucking number 1 on the chopping block. Where's the affection meter? Shortcut is H. I'll have to remember that. Yeah. You kind of need to meet someone else to kind of take some of the heat off you, so that way you can just kill them instead.
ほうけてる場合じゃねえ。
It's not over. There are still enemies to fight. The resolve to do battle was renewed this night, and there must be no delay in putting it to the test.
Yosh!
She takes off into the darkness, her destination the same as her enemies, the middle of the island. Once more to the battlefield to Ayane Ichijo. And before long, she reaches it, the shore. In front of her is the lighthouse that guided them to this island, a signpost telling her that she has traveled in precisely the opposite of her intended direction. Oh, yeah, you're bad with directions, huh? Some diseases have no cure. Womp womp. Ha 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 ha.
敵捕捉
おう
I fly like the wind, the creature once more looming large before me. Fear that I might be too late gnaws at me, but I banish it from my mind. I can only fight for every last second and hope that it will be enough. The enemy is on the ground, seemingly immobile. Did something happen to force it to land? It does not appear to be damaged. And just give me a second, one quick cut here. Alright, and I'm back. I was rotting from the inside, so that issue's been resolved. The enemy is on the ground, seemingly immobile. Did something happen to force it to land? It does not appear to be damaged. I am pretty sure I already read that. But I'll worry about that later. I can tell that it's moments from resuming fight. Flight. I charge. Whether it is his instincts or his instruments that warn him, I cannot say. But the Titan's pilot responds to my approach far quicker than I anticipated. Its cannons turn and spit flame. A wall of lead appears to block me, but I charge on, caring not. I have no energy left to evade. The bullets tear at my armor. A focused barrage that attests to the pilot's skill. I know that I have only a few seconds before they break through to the soft flesh beneath. A vision of death flares up in my mind, but I banish and press onward, my every faculty trained on my target, my one chance to bring this beast low. Its cockpit, a location burned into my mind, seems to glow like a beacon drawing me in. Its weak point, glowing orange. I must attack it for massive damage. Just a little more.
おい 吉野音流合戦令を人類が崩しレールが我がつ
Pew! Ooh, we got the 3D model out. That means it's a big moment. The giant is at last silent, now merely a small mountain shining dully in the moonlight. Pushing my injured legs to their limit, I climb up the deep gash carved by my strike. The Rokahara Dragoon is dangling from his cockpit, unconscious. Unconscious. I pull him free and toss him to the ground, then peer into the machine's metal bowels. Beyond the latticed catwalks in the belly of the monster, I see them, the children, huddled in their cage. They are motionless, all of them, like a single lump of flesh. Something cold slides down my ribs into my gut. My voice catches in my throat. I know I should call out to them, but fear prevents me.
村正確認しろ熱源探査
They just unconscious, or are they like, you know...
無事よ
Hey, look at that.
衰弱がひどいけれど生きているすぐに治療を受けさせる見ろ
すまん
My head swims as the pain and fatigue that were forgotten during the battle return with a vengeance. The shock of collapsing only makes it worse, but I manage somehow to shake it off and stand.
本当に限界ね今の私たちならこの間のレーサークルスとやらと殴り合いしても
Yeah, sounds like we're on a magic pixel right now.
お前がそんな弱音を
This
吐く
fight
な
needed to be
よほ
over
どだ
like 30 minutes ago.
まだ研究所の方が片付いていないが
まさか
今回はここまでとしておく本件は 銀星号事件と無関係であることはほ
We'll,
ぼ
we'll
確
deal
定
with
し
it
た。
eventually, you know, but
では以上
we took out the big
以上
scary
で解
monster
決を強
neck,
行する
so,
べ
you
き
know,
必然性は欠く
that's gonna slow him down for at least a little bit.
と言ってこの島を放置してよいということにはならないが
Yeah, priorities.
今彼らの身柄を確保し仲間と合流対岸へ帰還する。
了解。驚かさないで。
I grab hold of the giant's armor and gather my strength for another climb. All I have to do is haul the prisoners free. That might be difficult in my condition. Perhaps I should just secure the area and call for...
何よ、まだ何かあるっていうの？
そのようだ。
The bullet that explodes against my helmet restores some life to my, enervated? Enervated brain. A trap. That's right, this whole thing was a trap, set to remove me from their equation. I should have known that they wouldn't just let me go. Their plan was a resounding success. They pit their enemies against each other. Now Rogahar's weapon lies in ruins, and I can barely move. All that's left is to finish us off. Three dragoons circle high overhead, with three more keeping watch from low altitude. STO-5 Warwolves and GR-3 Garms. The AEF's premier cruxes for air superiority and ground control. Seems we're in a bit of a pickle here. The sky is closed, and on the ground are tanks and infantry by the dozen. No way out. A man stands atop the closest tank. He is tall and imposing, his uniform bulging with muscle, but his face is white and delicate, like a porcelain sculpture. Blonde hair and blue eyes, a pure-blooded Anglo-Saxon if I've ever seen one. With that golden greatsword strapped to his back, he resembles a demigod hero of myth. It is obvious at a glance that he is in charge here, but I squint and scan for his rank insignia anywhere. Major, if I'm not mistaken, which makes him the commanding officer of a company, or perhaps assistant bureau chief. He looks down at me from his vantage point, gaze offering no hint of emotion.
機関はどなたか。
礼節として答えよう、蛮族の戦士。断っておくが、私はジョージ・ガーゲット少佐である。GHQ 資料管理課に所属する。
Since he seems disinterested in my personal information, I respond with another question.
資料管理課。
そうだ。私は資料を管理しに来た。
Oh yeah, now that they brought it up the sword, yeah, that's a really wide blade, huh?
その作業には資料の廃棄も含まれる。
Ah, sounded like a place to send unwanted officers, but now the name makes sense.
つまりは機関が反町らを使い大和支配のための謀略を巡らしていた人物。そう解釈して誤りないだろうか。
Yeah, something like that.
特殊工作班の班長殿。
答える必要を認めない。
He says with impressive arrogance, doubtless knowing that this amounts to blunt information. To a blunt affirmation.
では事実と仮定して問いを重ねさせていただく。戦争に善悪を問う不毛は承知の上。しかし政治には良否があろうと存ずる。貴軍が大和を制圧する。軍略の正道と認められても卑劣な策謀によって民心を得ようとするは恥ずべき非道とのみ思われまいか。
Alright, fair.
この点
Probably gonna hit back with, well, you're subhuman yellow apes, so you don't even deserve those rights. Don't even worry about it.
答える必要を認めない。
Don't quote me on that. No clip chipping. It does not bat an eye.
だが、一般的見解として述べるなら、正道といい、非道と言おうと、その策謀とやらを非道と取るか否かは、見解の相違があるだろう。
最低限の人倫さえ絶対的な基準ではないと。
Real ends justify the means.
いいや、
It is awesome, in a way, how the Major answers with perfect calm and perfect assurance, as if oblivious to the accusation of my voice.
人たる道、天に増す我らが父の教えは絶対的に尊重すべきものである。しかしそれは君らと何の関係もないことではないか。言葉を発する珍しい猿よ。
That is all I needed to hear. So that's the kind of man he is. That is where his justice lies. There are those among the Anglo-Saxon race who believe that their successful conquest of nearly the entire world has been a product not of superior strategy, resources, and technology, but rather of divine will, the so-called manifest destiny. Such men are not uncommon, nor is their belief difficult to understand. It is equally easy to grasp, however, that for this soldier and any Yamatoan to see eye to eye would require bridging a gap about 10,000 light years. Journey that, I'm afraid, I haven't the energy to make. Well, depending on what kind of, psycho race theorist, eugenicist you're talking to in the early, 20th century or late, 19th century, they'd be like, well, it's obvious that the white race is clearly superior in every way, but there's a chance, what if there's, quote-unquote, white races of different ethnicities? That was literally, the argument with Japan at, the beginning of the 1900s among some circles. It's they're clearly westernizing and doing quite well. So what if they're, the whites of Asia was the way the thinking was going? Not a very good train of thought. Not right, but, yeah, let's not talk about race theory, please. Especially early fucking 1900s eugenics race theory.
こちらも礼節として確認をさせていただく。機関には自分に対する戦闘行動を回避する意思は全く一切合切完膚なく皆無か。
戦闘などは行わない。言ったはずだ。
Yeah, you're not gonna fight. We're just gonna kill you. Duh.
村正、君という資料を。
I haven't the stomach to ask Muramasa for a report of my condition. My left side limbs, those that took the brunt of the death ray, seem hardly attached, and my right leg isn't much better. I have serious doubts I'll be able to stand, let alone fight.
村正。
一応聞くだけ聞くけど、土下座して命乞いをするって選択はないのね。
Nope.
それが通るなら幸いだったが。
Mm-hmm.
彼は人種差別主義者だ。そもそもこちらを交渉に値する相手とみなしていない。
I try to come up with a better explanation, thinking that it might be difficult for a medieval Yamatoan to grasp the concept of racism. Considering, the fucking only thing, fucking 1400s Yamatoan mech can know is oh yeah, there are those, that big country on the mainland, and that's about it. If they even know that. And you didn't have bothered.
あなたたちの一部が私たちに対して持っているような感覚で、あいつは今こっちを見ているってことね。なら、話すだけ無駄でしょ。
Mm-hmm.
避け合うか、殺し合うか。
Yep.
道は二つに一つよ。
Remember, it's always right to fucking kill Nazis. You were morally justified in exacting violence on them. I can tell by Muramasa's tone that she speaks from experience, leaving me no room to argue. Not that I have any inclination to do so. I fully agree with her assessment.
突破する。いけるか、村正。
The whole paradox of tolerance and all that.
裸で真冬の富士に登れるものなら、きっと。
そうか。その程度か。
その程度よ。気楽に行きましょう、御堂。
I'll take your word for it. I still have a duty to perform. As much as I would relish a miserable death, I must settle for a shameful existence instead. I do a quick visual scan of the enemies surrounding me. The formation is perfect, tight enough to keep even ants from escaping. Breaking through the sky is out of the question. 6 dragoons are standing by to shoot me down the moment I take off. My only hope is to escape by land. The enemy will try to keep me pinned with tanks and infantry, while the Garm's dragoons, designed for close air support, strike with impunity from above. I'll have to fend off this onslaught, look for a gap in the formation, disengage, then return to secure the Haya children, rendezvous with Ichijo, and escape the island undetected. Yeah, that's quite a fucking shopping list. This may prove more difficult than climbing Mount Fuji naked in winter. And now that the blonde titan stirs atop his track steed, surely aware of what my wandering gaze means. He raises his massive sword, and carves his shining cross in the air, then lifts his eyes to the heaven and cries,
Sacro Sancto!
Cool.
やはりか。
I mean, obviously. You know, that big fuck off sword, no way he was going to be swinging that around. His golden sheath bursts into pieces that encase him in shimmering armor. A crux. Blood, of course. A Shinuchi. His incantation would identify it as an Ascalon, the Dragon Slayer. Oh, like St. George's fucking sword. Though, most likely it's a copy. The original is far too valuable to be in his possession. From the look of the metalwork, I place it as 7th or 8th generation royal smithy. Thus, armored in the majesty of legend, the major jumps down from his tank and steps forward. Still has not given orders to his men. Does he mean for this to be a duel?
害虫駆除は危険を伴い、しかも不毛な作業だ。
He says calmly, as though responding to my unspoken question.
このようなことに、優秀なる我が兵士、我が同胞の命を費やしたくはない。
Okay, fair.
彼らの力は、ふさわしい戦いにのみ用いられるべき
And
な
he
のだ。
talks slow. At this, tremors of adulation? Okay. Adulation run through the soldiers encircling us. It appears that this pompous display was meant to be inspiring.
拍手でもする？
やめておこ
I'd have to sheath my sword. Without acknowledging his men's response, Major Garrett takes another step towards me and stops. His range is still too far for a duel.
で、あるならばだ。最も望ましい結末は、同胞の手を煩わせ、
Yes, please come over here and put your
害
neck
虫
on the
が
block,
勝手
okay?
に死んで
Let's
くれ
make
る
this easier
こ
for
と。
both of us, huh?
害虫同士で食い合ってくれることだ。そうではないかね。
This last is, for some reason, directed at me. I already know what GHQ is after. This trap was designed to yield precisely the outcome he speaks of, and it has succeeded. What more could he want? Is it just his way of gloating, or savoring his victory? I think it's a recruitment pitch. Unfortunately not.
だから、最後まで食い合ってくれねば困るのだよ。
Suddenly realizing what he intends, I try to leap up and attack, but my ruined legs betray me, leaving me floundering in the dust. With a grace that seems to mock my failure, the Major's crux takes to the sky. Flies, not towards me. Towards the monster's head.
う。ガーゲット少佐
It was a
このガラク
Garget,
タが
not
よくで
Garrett.
きている。
My bad. He says as he lights atop the metal
素
skull.
晴らしい。全く素晴らしい。君ら列島の手になる創造物のうち、クズを食いつぶしながらクズを駆逐する。これほど効率の良い清掃道具が他にあろうか。
Okay.
そこから降りろガーゲット少佐機関は騎士ではないのか
無論のこと、私は騎士だ。
Replies the paragon of the Anglo-Saxon race. There is no shame, no remorse, no uncertainty in his voice, only pride.
この光栄あるクルスにかけて私は戦う。神と祖国と 黄色い猿のためではない。
Mm-hmm.
それがそんなにも不思議か。庇護を求めるなら騎士ではなく動物愛護団体を当たるがいい。さらばだ村正、君は武田しく狡猾で見るも不快な獣であった。
やめろ
My last entreaty fails. The Golden Knight vanishes into the cockpit, and the dead giant returns to life. Burn up those children! It lifts its ponderous bulk from the ground, screeching and squealing like a chorus of the damned. I realize too late that the repair crew is at its back. Before my eyes, they have completed their work, the replacement of the machine's power cable. Thus, the monster is restored in full, wings and fangs once again ready for battle. Muramasa's shock and mind meld into one vast, white expanse of non-thought. What should I do? What should I feel? The dragon's jaws open wide. What do I do? What do I do? Fight. Yes, I must fight. What if I engage that monster once more? And those children. Those children. There are no answers to be had from my stricken brain. The cannon roars, surrounding my death knell. Sounding my death knell. But all I can do is stand petrified and wait for the end to come.
Nani?
Behold! A voice seems to ring from the heavens. Powerless to resist, I'll look to the sky. And there we see it. The silver star. Perhaps.
江ノ島がなくなってしまったぞ。
Oh! It's all gone. But
見ろ、あそこだ。ん？半島になっている。おお、本当だ。綺麗に飛んだものだな。あれは浮島だったのか。
You pushed it? No? What? Huh? I'm confused. Yeah, huh? How? What? Huh?
違うぞ、多分。ともあれ無事で何より。あのように景観の美しい島をなくしてしまっては惜しいものな。その意味では、もう台無しだが。
Strange as it may seem, there is no sensation of impact or movement. There's only a feeling of tremendous loss, so the entire world had vanished for an instant, followed by the jarring, congruent realization that nothing about my immediate surroundings has changed. Then I look in the direction of land, and discover that the lights of Fudoraku Castle, visible at night only from anywhere in the region, are closer than before. Yeah, you fucking teleported to the island? What? Huh? The truth hits me. And I nearly soil myself in terror. Muramasa's voice is strained, as though she herself does not understand what she's saying. My thoughts and hers are one. Preposterous. I know intellectually that this must be a manifestation of the gravity control that is my enemy's unique power, but that is the limit of my understanding. For the life of me, I cannot begin to comprehend how it was done.
なんだ今何が起きた
Major Garget does not have the benefit of even my meager knowledge. I can imagine the blank expression on his face as the giant's head swivels, looking for answers. None are forthcoming until, like me, his gaze alights on Fudaraku Castle, larger than before, and stops there, frozen. It will take him only a second to arrive at the truth. His men, similarly disoriented, will need a few seconds more. These, then, are their last moments of peace on this earth. Soon they will know what has descended from the sky. They will know what it has done, what it will do. And then they will know true fear. The last moments of blessed ignorance before it comes. The silver venom that twists men's souls.
Nani? Metal Echo?
It's time to pose the eternal question: to be or not to be, we ask. Let the comedy, Howl of Thunder and Loyal Doxing and Flesh, Warmth at Block Eye Smithing Soap, one Savannah Pride, Steam Bubble Softly, Frolicking Children, Crush the Frogs' Eggs Beneath their bare feet, Reach Life Sacred Meaning, Man, that's one long fucking incantation. Someone howls. No, something. This is not the voice of a man, but of a creature without reason or conscience. It sings of violence, of bloodshed and malice. Soon it is joined by 10, 20, and more to form a chorus of the jubilant damned. There are no impurities in their song, nothing human to taint its perfection. They are beasts now, nothing more. Two-legged, steel-skinned, and wielding tongues of flame. Such is the fate of this GHQ unit and its mission. The feast begins. All are predators, all are prey. A soldier empties his rifle into a chump of fellow infantry, clump, filling the air with a mist of blood. Then a tank crushes him beneath its treads. The tank rolls on, uncaring, and sets its sights on another of its kind. But before it can loose its deadly shell, a grenade tossed down its barrel shreds it from within. The other tank, meanwhile, fires into the sky. The airborne dragoons are not easy targets, but finally, one goes down in flames. The unlucky pilot's comrades look on in shocked silence. They have not become beasts. They are protected by their Tsurugi, by their cruxes of adamant. As the world unravels around them, they alone bear witness to the fragility of the unarmored. The Major, who is futile entreaties, is the only one among them who still has the presence of mind to act. Perhaps this makes him a particularly enticing morsel. The man, revered as God's messenger, forsakes his faith, vomiting blood. The man hailed as the world's conqueror, fails at his quest and drowns, still atop his horse. Princess chooses love of country and is led to the guillotine amid the stench of offal. The orphan seeks sustenance in the blood of worms and rots from within until no flesh remains. Listen, all who live, and I will sing your praises. Offer forth the malice concealed by wry smiles. Listen, all who live, I will pray for your souls. Rest upon the joy which hatred and prejudice have birthed. A life of 100 years will hear the serenade of fire and steel. A life of 7 days will glimmer bright in the silence and dark. Run and dance, beasts of the plain, laugh and sing, and feast and fight. For now, all chains and cages have crumbled to dust beneath your feet. As one, the beasts turn their savage, bloodshot eyes upon the man who was their leader. I have no way of knowing what he tries to say, but words he thinks will prevent the collapse of that which he holds most dear. But whatever it is, his last noble attempt is denied its chance. Perhaps this is a kind of mercy. It was always doomed to failure. Words, after all, cannot sway the heart of a beast. Their language is fist and fire, blade and blood. Gunfire envelops the Major's machine. The shots wild, haphazard, but lacking no malice. You can only imagine how he must feel, taking fire from men whom he, in his own way, clearly treasured. Not one of the bullets hammering against him has the power to pierce his armor, but to know that they are far from harmless. From within the steel giant issues a wordless cry of grief and rage, a naked blade that has no target. No target, save one. It wasn't fucking me. Silver. Silver. Most fabled of metals. Fragment of the moon. Vessel of unearthly might. Herald of chaos and madness. Once regarded as a conduit for the supernatural, the apostles of modern science have since rejected the belief as a superstition of the foolish and ignorant. To whom do these labels truly belong? Look, there it shines. A silver Musha is before us, in its visage the beauty of the harvest moon, in its armor the majesty of peerless might, and in its gaze the light of unchained madness. How, then, can we not share in the awe and terror that once gripped men's souls? In Seigo, the silver star has come. Yeah, you two can fucking fight it out. We gotta like go. The Musha in question meets his roar with an indulgent nod. All words, I recall, are equal to her. All questions deserving a sincere reply.
自ら称した覚えはないが、確かに俺は銀の名で呼ばれる者に他ならぬ。同胞とは彼らのことか。そうだ。いらんものを消し飛ばした。
いらんもの。
倫理。人が自らの手足にはめた枷。これを取り払ってやったのだ。
Okay.
なぜ？
それがこの光の道を阻むゆえに。打破し、破壊し、壊滅させねばならぬ。
Weird. You're weird.
倫理。そして倫理に基づいて構成された社会。ひいてはつまり人の世界。すべて砕く。
Okay.
この光の手で打ち滅ぼす。
貴様は
Yes, clearly.
狂っているのか？
いいな。俺は理性の命じるところに従っている。疑うならこの光の言うとを聞け。
Sure, let's hear it.
江ノ島の面積が約10分の4平方キロ。
なんだと？
地球上の陸地総面積約1億5000万平方キロ。これを割り算すると。村正
Yeah, do some quick math for us. That's a lot.
3億7500万。そう。世界は江ノ島3億7500万個分。つまり計算上、さっきの江ノ島キック3億7500万回で世界は光の武力に屈服する。どうだ、違うか？
この着ぐるみめ。
もうこんな単純な話がなぜわからん。英国人は数字に弱いのか？人のこと言えんぞミド。それにそういう問題ではないと思う。
It's more, the reasoning behind why we're doing the math.
もしかして彼は失われたムー大陸とか信じている人なのか？まだ地底帝国があると。いや、そうでもなく、非現実的な話を大真面目に語る人間を見たとき、大概の人間は彼のような反応をするものだ。非現実的？何をバカな。
I mean, to be fair, Garget is the kind of guy who might believe in Atlantis.
やるぞ、俺は。
Hikaru. Hikaru. My sister. Dizzying change after dizzying change has left my heart exhausted and numb. And yet, it reaches out to Hikaru. Barely audible whisper, uttered unthinking, but she turns to face me at the sound of her name. Not knowing what else to say, I stare at the silver Musha in silence, but find no trace, none whatsoever, of the Hikaru I once knew. She is appraising me too, it seems. After a short pause, she nods to herself, as if pleased by what she sees.
普通、反問、応能、しかして未だ折れぬ意志。上々だ。 こちらへ近づいてきているぞ、影明。
2 years. This may be the first time she has spoken a sentence to me. And yet the words are meaningless. Her thoughts are opaque, unknowable. I was right. Gods be damned, I was right. The creature before me is not Hikaru. My sister is gone.
どうして
I find myself asking the most foolish of
どう
questions.
して狂った
お前までそんなことを言うのか。
She sighs, her tone wounded. She seems wholly unaware of her insanity. Of course, that is what makes her insane. I know that these questions are futile. I know what to expect, but my pain, my regret, will not let me stay silent.
呪われたからかそうなのか
狂ってなどいないよ、影明。
狂っている狂っているではないか
Because don't you get it, man? We're all fucking insane, man. So, really, by going insane, I'm now the only sane one. You don't get it. I thrust my finger at the GHQ soldiers, at the beast who were GHQ soldiers.
彼らを見ろお前の放つ波を浴びてああなったお前が狂っているからお前と心を重ねた彼らも狂ってしまったのだそうだろ
The silver demon follows my finger, her gaze taking in the hell she created. Then her eyes seem to narrow, expressing satisfaction.
フブ、
何
The law of might?
しかし確かに解せないところはある。なぜ誰もかもが知性を失うのか。なぜ光のようにはいられないのか。それほどに飢えていたのだろうか。人は常日頃そこまで闘争の差がを抑圧しながら生きているものなのか。だから
Insego makes a circle with her right thumb and forefinger, then aims it at the nearby soldier.
少し弾いただけで
She makes the motion.
こうなってしまうのか。
The soldier's body leaps into the air, as if propelled by some invisible force. The height of his jump is inhuman, as is the howl that bursts from his throat. The thing that was a man lands on the giant and clings to its armor, aims his bloodshot eyes at the machine's cockpit.
ケベック上等編
The soldier grins at the sound of his name. Rather, bares his teeth in what seems a grin, then leans back, rears his head, and lunges, biting into the giant's hide. His teeth shatter, blood runs down his jaw, but still he keeps gnawing, howling all the while. Private Kevik's body bursts like a melon, but the giant continues to fire. Beside the cockpit dangles the man's severed jaw, stuck to a handhold like a grisly trophy. With a roar of pure hate, the major trains all of his cannons on the silver Tsurugi. Perhaps his sanity has already fled. His aim, however, is beyond reproach. 1,000 bullets find their mark. Insego's hand assumes once more the flicking position, and then her index finger vanishes. No, it only seems to vanish. It lashes out again and again, far faster than the human eye can follow, and the night shivers with the sound of sharp pings. This is all that my senses can perceive. No, one thing more. Not one bullet reaches Ginsego's armor. Though the mage's fire is unceasing, his aim remains true.
なんとも不器用な指使いであることよ。クルセイダー。乙女の柔肌に触れたいと望むなら、もそっと丁寧にしなくてはならぬ。
The Silver Musha says with a merry laugh.
これではどんな娘もなびくまい。平手打ちを食うのがオチであろうよ。
Is she deflecting the bullets with her finger? My mind rebels against the notion. But there's no other explanation. The giant turns and bares its main gun, which comes to life with a blood-chilling roar. So next is the beam that took most of my limbs, a weapon with no visible projectile that burns its target to cinders. It is a force to be reckoned with, even for Ginseigo. She doesn't seem to understand the threat it presents. Or does she? Either way, she's not amused.
余害者乙女に向かって許しも得ずそんな無粋な代物を突きつけるとは何事か光に対する狼藉は高いぞ
If this was meant to be a warning, then it goes unheeded. I doubt a word if it reaches the Major's ears. The cannon's roar peaks. A moment more, and it will loose its terrible power. Yet even facing a weapon whose nature she cannot know, Ginseigo makes no move to defend or retreat.
なんだそんなものか
The wave of energy swallows Ginseigo, who meets it with arms crossed before her. For several seconds, nothing moves. Time itself seems to have frozen. Is she dead? The question plays through my mind, but not because I believe it to be so. Quite the opposite, in fact. The question's purpose is to be denied.
波を送って内から壊すなるほどよくできてはいるが要は裏当てではないかこの程度の打法返すのは造作もないこう
With a crisp, smooth motion, the Silver Musha spreads her arms. And right before my eyes, the giant's cannon melts. The destruction doesn't stop there. The armor surrounding the cannon, too, slows away like ice beneath a blowtorch, sending sheets of molten slag crashing to the ground.
波を返してやればほらかよう未熟な拳を使った腕は自ら砕けることになるな
This last is directed at me with a wink. Am I supposed to agree with her? How can I, when I haven't even the faintest idea what she did or how? I'm still not certain what that weapon even was. So this is the chasm that separates us. From where I'm standing, she might as well be on another planet, another galaxy. No, farther and farther than my feeble imagination can take me. I'm a man, chained to the earth, and Ginseigo a child of the utmost stars. Will I ever reach her? Is it even possible?
さあジョージスキリよ
新手か乱雑に群れをなしてとはまた無作法な
Well, time for them to die.
レディーにダンスを申し込むなら順番待ちくらいするものぞしかしよかろう狩猟民族に作法を云々しても始まらぬ参れ光が相手して使わす
And so, the comedy enters its next act. As brave dragoons descend from the sky to punish the demon who wounded their lord, Ginseigo rises to meet them, and battle is joined. Though I have to wonder, can what follows truly be called a battle? Ginseigo is clearly toying with her opponents. They throw up a cage of crisscrossing fire, but she darts through gaps that hardly exist. They close and strike with their swords from all sides, but she bats them away with playful sweeps of her fingers. She's dancing. Yes, dancing. How else to describe the beauty and grace with which she flits across the sky? I watch, entranced, unable to move from my spectator's seat. Yes, clearly. People? What people? My brain finally awakens to Muramasa's cry. The processes that were paralyzed by Ginseigo's arrival spin once more to full speed. There were fewer soldiers than before, too few to explain by the carnage alone. I should count twice as many men and tanks. Where did the rest go? Off to the mainland. Where did they... No.
目の前の片瀬へ向かっ
可能性はある。あれが獣で餌を求めているとすれば
Then their instincts might lead them to the town on the shore.
止めないと。
I begin to reply, but something begins to brings me crashing to a halt. I look to the center of the chaos, a storm of rage and despair unto itself. The giant piloted by Major Gargan. Even with half his armor gone, he continues to fire at the silver shape in the sky. What is keeping the monster moving? They are. Deep in the monster's bowels, those children are still being used as fuel. And then there are others to think about. The deranged soldiers feasting on their comrades in this hellish place. If I wish to save them, then the only way is to defeat Kinsego.
どうするの？
What do? I can't solve every problem at once. Not with Muramasa as my only asset. Ichijo's nowhere to be seen. Don't even know if she's still alive. No, she has to be. I allowed her to come on this dangerous mission because I knew she could be expected to survive. In any case, I have only my own strength to command. I have to prioritize. Prioritize. Few concepts are more foul with lives at stake. But alas, there's only one truth in this place. People are dying even now. Dying for nothing.
まず怪物を始末する。ついで狂った兵団。最後に最も手間取るであろう銀星号。以上方針。
了解。
Muramasa ignites her Katari. My body quakes as we start to rise, but the vibrations are weak. We have too little power. How will we even be able to fly? Good question that we'll have to answer next time on the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. I know we're cutting it kind of in the middle, but hey, this seems like it's going to keep going for a while, and I want to stop. So we are. With a little bit of cliffhanger to entice you to come back next time. So, to be sure that you're back next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys all next time for the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. Catch you guys later.